Clearly, the word sword that I'm showing you is 2015. Clearly, inside the word sword, we find the year 5775 for Israel this year. This is the message from God to the nations of the world, to the nation of Islam, to the United States, all those who will turn their back on the nation of Israel. Clearly, you who fight against Israel is as if you're fighting against God. And if you come with the sword against Israel, God clearly will come with you with his sword. Be mindful that the nation of Israel is still God's people, representatives of God's nation on earth. Be mindful, whoever you are, who have set in your heart to come against the nation of Israel, that as you call yourself fighting against the nation of Israel, you call yourself fighting against God. Truly, the word Israel means God strives, God struggles. And this is not a struggle that you, the nations of the world, will win. The nation of Israel, who God fights for, will win. You need to put aside all your indifferences, whoever you are, whatever nation you are, whatever religion you are. Be mindful. And when you come against the nation of Israel, whatever discrepancies you have against Ben Netanyahu or the nation of Israel, and regardless of how you feel, remember, that's still God's nation on earth, still representatives of God. We'd rather try to be at peace, shalom with the nation of Israel, rather than try to fight against them. You will be fighting against God. Let me show you this calculation in full, and you'll see what I mean from the prophet Ramon. I will show you the year 5775 inside the word sword. Here it is, the word sword in its entirety. S is 19, 23 is W, 15 is O, 18 is R, and D is 4. Be mindful, the year 5775 for the nation Israel. All the years that Abraham lived, 175. So you know that I'm talking about the nation of Israel. All the years that Jacob lived, 147. Be mindful, United States, and be mindful, the nation of Islam, whoever else you may be. Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. No matter how much discord you have against the nation of Israel. Remember, if you come against the nation of Israel, you're coming against God. And clearly, inside the word sword is the year that Israel is today, 5775. 5775. Here God is showing the prophet. And when you come against God, people, regardless how you feel about them, regardless how you feel about them, Barack Obama, clearly, in 1948, 67 years ago, I'm talking about Israel. God is talking about Israel, who this year is 5775, according to their lunar solar calendar. Clearly, Barack Obama is 53. He's also the 44th president of the United States, who seems to have a major problem with Ben Netanyahu in Israel over Palestine. Surely he was born 1961, August 4th. Be mindful, President Barack Obama, how you deal with Israel. It's how you deal with Israel. This year, 5775. or the year 2015 according to our Georgian calendar. 2015 AD, Jesus is coming. And maybe Satan has set in your heart to try Israel in the year 5775. But I clearly will tell you, as God has shown me, if you come against the nation of Israel, God will come against you with a fury that you've never known before. Remember, it's the same Israel who lived 147 years. It's the same people, Abraham. Abraham who lived 175 years. You may not believe in God, but I tell you what, you come against them, you come against God. You go against Israel, you go against God. And clearly inside the word sword, SWORD, is the year Israel is today, 5775. You've been warned. You've been warned. Back up. Let it be, or else deal with the sword of God.